So I want to show you the importance of stubbing functions when you're unit testing your components in React. So I'm going to show you first the functionality that we're going to be testing. So let's say we have this. I'm going to actually refresh the page here. Let's say we have this input field, and I can just type in any ticker I want. So Apple, for example, any stock that is. So, and as I type things in, I see just a list drop down of different suggestions. These are just auto-complete suggestions. So based on what I type, I get suggestions, and I can just choose anything I want. So if I just choose any stock, really, what I should see is the selected thing that I clicked on, and then the search field should clear, and that's that. So this is the functionality that we're testing. Now, from a front-end perspective, what is it that I really want to test? So basically, as I type something in, I want to test for, as I'm typing, I want to see my suggestions. I want to see the component render appropriate suggestions. That's all. Now, we're not actually testing whether the API works, because that would be more of a back-end test, and that I can cover in another video. But I want to show you, when you're testing your front end, how to test and what to test. So what we are testing here is, when the user types in, I should be seeing some drop down, let's say. If, of course, assuming the API returns something. So we're going to cover all this. So let's get into it. So the function in question that we just talked about here is this right here, handle search text. And this is called, I'm going to go down, I'll show you exactly where it's called. It's called on the on change event of the input. The input we just looked at. And every time somebody types, a user types, the on change event is triggered, and that will call the handle search text function. That is a change event, as you see, and we are calling this API search tradable symbols, passing in the text that the user typed in. That's that. I want to go ahead and test this function, this component really. I want to test this to ensure that it's behaving correctly. So let's go and get into a test here. Okay, so I have a test field, I have a test file here, and let's just jump into the thing that matters. So of course we test whether it renders. Okay, fine. Here, the first important test is I want to test and I want to see that it should render items on type. So when the user types, I should see this component render some items. That's that. So what we're going to do, I'll show you the point of stubbing here. So I've used the stub from sign-on. You can use any other library if you want, but the point is we are stubbing this function. What does stubbing mean? Stubbing effectively means I am putting in an implementation, a programmed behavior of this function, and I'm forcing it down a specific path. That's what effectively what I'm doing here. It's kind of like a mock, but it's separate in a way where it's again, I'm forcing it down a specific path and I'm pre-programming the behavior. And here you see, when I call this API's search tradable symbols function, remember, go back here, right here, search tradable symbols. When this function is invoked, remember it's a async function. So first of all, I have to do a calls fake, but I have to return a promise resolution here. What I'm saying here is stub it to return something. In this case, return some results that it is. So again, I'm not testing whether the API works. What I want to do is pre-program it to work already. And then I want to call the change event. In fact, I have this abstraction here called user event.type. Type is just an abstraction on the change event. So user types something. Upon typing something, I expect, and based on this stubbed function, I expect items to be rendered. So what's going on here? Okay, we've stubbed it. We have simulated our event. And now I'm saying, okay, query and get this field right here. So what is this field that I'm highlighting? Tradable symbol suggestions. What is that? If you go down here, you'll see it right here. It's a data test ID, tradable symbol suggestions. That is exactly our list suggestions that we want to see when the user types in something. That's that. So here, what I'm asking, all I'm asking here is get those suggestions and expect it to be in the document. In other words, expect it to not be no, expect it to be there. And that's that. So that is that function. Again, the importance I want to just highlight to you here, that when you're stubbing a function, you're not testing the API itself, because that would be tested in a backend test. We're not testing the API. We are saying assuming the API works. That's what I'm highlighting here, forcing it down a path of working. When the user performs whatever event that we expect them to perform, what we want to test is whether the function, the component, renders what it's supposed to be rendering. That's what I'm testing here, and the stub is useful to enable, to allow for that test. That's that. And similarly, these work in a similar way. So this should not render if the API fails. And this should also not render if the API returns an empty list. That's that. So let's go ahead and see this in action. So what I could do is just go back here. I'm going to just run the tests here. In fact, I will go for a specific file that I want to test for. So I want to test for the autocomplete. This is the one. Let's go ahead and run this. So you see all the tests passed. So that's good. Now I want to show you the importance of this, where having such tests in place gives you the confidence to go ahead and edit code, add new features without breaking old features. So for example, if I go here, and let's say inside this function, after the API has returned what it has to return, obviously I set my state here. Let's say, for example, I forget this, or something happens where it's been taken away, it's been removed. So the state is not being set. First, I want to show you what the actual component looks like in this case. So if I don't set any state, you see I'm typing, nothing happens. No drop down comes. Okay, well, my test should also catch that. And you see it has. So the test failed. The test where I'm saying should render items on type, that test has failed. So this is what we want. We want our test to not only test for all of our functionality, but catch us when code has been changed inadvertently or for any other reason. So that's that. That is the importance of, first of all, unit testing your functions, your components, that is, unit testing your components, and also I'm showing you the utility, the purpose behind stubbing. Again, we're testing the component's behavior upon an assumed success of our API. In another video, I will show you how to actually test this API, but that's a backend test, it's a different test. Anyway, hope this video was helpful, and that's that.